right. Well, hello and welcome into the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. I'm joined with John on the couch, Todd across from me. John's my brother, Todd's my dad, and I'm Hudson. And this is our numbers video. What we do in this video is our numbers, whether it's direct email marketing, warm responses, auditions, jobs booked, or our platforms for my dad and I. And then John runs VO Marketing Pro, which is a direct email marketing business for voice actors like maybe yourself or like my dad and I if you're not. So anyway, we're going to do our numbers, and we're going to start out with John, who works for VOMP. So let's hear how the VOMP group did this week.
All right, so good week for warm responses, 79 warm responses,
Woo.
40 auditions, and 8 jobs reported. And so we had Tyler Boss, Kimberly Young, Donnie Barnes, Mike Stout, Francisco, I won't try to pronounce his last name, apologize about that, but Francisco, Noel Romano, and then I believe it was 2 for Hudson, correct?
Actually had 3.
3, so not,
And,
does that make it 9?
I will tell you
3,
that
4, 5, 6,
so it'll be 9. Yeah,
Yep, 9.
I don't think I did a good job reporting the last one because I wasn't for
tisk.
sure until yesterday. But I did get it, and 3 new clients for me this week.
Boom.
So I'll tell you about that after John's done. I don't know if he's done
No,
yet.
we had a good week with roster auditions. 3 people that have used us. 3, I think I'll have to go back on that, but 2 or 3 companies that have used us in the past, used our roster in the past, came and asked us for auditions from several people in the group, and that's always nice. And one thing I will say is that these auditions, we're finding what we're trying to do is we're trying to build this roster out, as many of you know, to have these video production companies come to us exclusively. And at least one of these said that we were the only people that are auditioning. So this isn't necessarily a what is it called?
Cattle call.
Cattle call. We're trying to get it to be that we're the only, or that there's very few that they ask besides us, because we think we have a great group of talent on the roster, and that we can, with how we work and how the people in our roster work, that we can bring something that other platforms can't. Not that we're a platform, but just a roster, how the rosters can. So we had a good week with auditions with that. Just so you know, when you're auditioning, there are some that we do get that are cattle calls, but there's a lot of them that aren't. That we're trying to build it so that it's not that way. So I want to be clear on that.
That's a testament to the VOMP team, you and Joe, but also Drew and Mom
Yes.
doing cold calls because they stay on people's radar. But it's a testament to you guys that are on the voice roster, and all of the people, even if you're part of VOMP and you're not on the voice roster, just you getting back with people and responding well and doing a good job with your auditions, doing a good job, with the people when you work with
Customer
them.
service.
Yeah, I mean, that's making them want to come back. And what Drew's hoping to do is he's hoping to have, increase the number of video production companies, ad agencies, voice rosters that come back to us regularly. They just say, "Oh, I need a voiceover." Boom, VO Marketing Pros group or voice roster coming back, all the
They're
time.
always
And
there. They're always responsive.
Yeah.
They've got flexible rates, stuff like that makes you stand out.
Yeah. And sometimes they're, obviously going to use other agencies and they're going to put out they're going to cast a wider, if it's a big, national job or something, they're going to cast a wider net, if you will. But there are some times where they just come to us, which is
There's also the benefit of being part of a group like this is I had a job that I got a couple weeks ago, and the client said, hey, we'll use you for the English version, and if you know any Spanish-speaking voice talents, please let me know.
Yep.
And so we were able to get somebody who was in our group, Francisco, a job through a client of mine, which is part of VOMP.
Right.
But that's just something that, fortunately, he asked about it, and we were able to do that. So just another way to
spread the wealth around a little bit. If you're a voice that you're not a Spanish, you're not a Spanish speaker, and so obviously you need to
not fluently,
right. So you would need one. And so instead of just saying, well, we don't have anybody, send it to our voice roster, our group of people. And you guys have done a great job with that. So keep your ears open, keep your ears to the tracks. If there's some things that you can't do, don't just send them away. That's one thing that video production company, if they trust you to ask you for a referral, then give them a referral if you trust, the people on VO Marketing Pro. Yeah.
It's nice to have a group that's, like you said, trustworthy. Yeah. Of people you can say, yeah, I have somebody who I know is going to get back to you right away. Good,
that's exactly
good
right.
service. Oh, totally.
Oh, totally.
All right. My week, I had 7 warm responses. I had 1 audition. I won that audition. Found out yesterday. And then I had 2 jobs from a new client, $150 and $200, so $350 there. Had a $100 a job for another new client that was local. That was the Dodge County Fair.
Really?
Yeah. And then
Dodge County, Wisconsin.
Yeah, sorry, that's close to where we live. And then I had another new client who is paying me. It's going to end up being $600, but $200, $200, and $200
for 3 different reads or
spots. So anyway, so I had 3 new clients, 3 jobs, and then I had a $7 job on Fiverr, $65 job on Fiverr, and then a $25 job on Fiverr. Nothing on Upwork. It's been slow. I don't know why. But then I did editing for you, and then this week something new. I also did some editing for somebody on our part of our VOMP group. So I did a total this week of $1,177.60. So over my goal again, which was
over $300
wonderful.
Over your goal, or about $300 over your goal. Great, good.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It was fun. Next week might be tough.
Next week probably will be tough for all of us, I would think.
Keep my head up.
Yep. For me, Fiverr, $800 even. My direct email marketing was $4,996.28. And just before I give the total, I had a company use me from Finland. They paid me for my session, and then they paid me $2,500 for the usage. And they were going to do it for 5 years. Their end client was going to do it for 5 years. And they sent me it, and we sent our invoice, and it was all going to be paid. And then all of a sudden I woke up this morning and they said, hey, sorry, but this never happens. We really apologize. They only want to do it for 2 years. So overnight I lost $1,300. Not always fun.
Tough.
It's part of the deal. So, I could have been closer to 6,500 this week, but it is $5,296.28. $5,296.28. Here's how I responded, just so you know. I just said, and this would have been a lot tougher 10 years ago. Still not fun to lose $1,300, but here's how I responded. Unemotionally, I just said, hey, no problem. I understand these things happen. Guess what's going to happen? They were put in a tough spot because their end client, did it to them. They have to then come and give me the bad news. So I said, hey, no problem. I understand. And they said, thanks for understanding. And that means that they're going to keep their ears and eyes open for more jobs for me. I just know these things. So that's how you have to handle it as a business person. So that's my week. Guys got anything else before we tackle this other thing?
No, I don't think so. We just had somebody comment on one of our videos, and we wanted to take a moment to chat about that. So
this was from the I don't need other people or organizations to protect me when it relates to VO rates. That was under the Todd's tips and the do's and don'ts. If you're watching our other videos, then you'll know what I'm talking about. He or she said this. For one, as a newer talent, he or she said, great topic. I can say that I see both sides of this coin. For one, as a newer talent, you simply can't jump into VO and start charging industry standard rates. You can't compete with the established pros at the same rate they charge. Clients will almost always lean toward the established pro rather than taking a chance on a newer talent. This can stifle the growth of any newcomers. You have to start somewhere, and that usually means starting with lower rates. It's not meant to undercut established talent or hurt the business. It's just what is needed for newer talent to get a firm footing in the business. From the industry perspective, the person says, I can see that establishing standard VO rates helps to protect undercutting VO talent and making sure that all are paid fairly. It's unlikely, however, that we'll ever see this happen, as you'll always have some that charge less because they are not as invested. Hobbyists, low quality mic, minimal, if any, acoustic treatment, no formal training or coaching. So getting to a place of harmonious understanding in the VO realm on this topic is not likely something we'll ever see in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. It all comes down to each individual's needs and situation. All that to say, I guess to each his own. Regardless of which side anyone falls on with regard to this topic, each individual will do what they must to best align with their situation. Of course, we were talking about those people who say, organizations and VO talent and coaches that say, this is what you have to charge. You're undercutting, you're not doing what's right, you're hurting the industry, things like that. And I was just saying,
money.
Yeah, I was just saying that I don't need somebody like that telling me what to do. I can do business the way I think I need to do business. And so I don't know if you have any comments. I have a little something to say here.
I agree that on probably average, if you're a newcomer, you're probably not going to have the quality of voiceover, whether you're afraid behind the mic a little bit, your demos, just the time doing voiceovers, you're probably not going to have the greatest product. I will say that I have, in my experience, had some people give me a chance that maybe they would have given somebody else that was higher quality. And I'm, thankful for that. So I'm not saying that that's true for everybody, but I have seen that some people are willing to give newer people a chance. Mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't know I was newer. I think they did, and they were saying they wanted to give somebody a chance. So I had to start. I took your rates and I discounted them when I first started because I thought, well, I can't be, I've just got to take whatever I can get, because I want to get better practice, stuff like that. So it's a little bit tough to be able to start out at industry standard if your voice isn't at industry standard, or your demos or your microphone and stuff like that. That's a little
I know you're using that as a term. The problem I have is with industry standard. I just have a problem with that because there is no industry standard. Yeah. There's the standard that certain people in the industry, and it might be a large group, which if you want to call it an industry standard, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is the industry standard.
It's a free market.
And so I don't know, you don't have a lot of pricing and different things like that to do. You kind of leave that to the individual client, to the VO Marketing Pro voice person. But I just wrote this. I thought what he said was good because there are two sides to this. No problem at all. I don't even have a problem with people giving what they think is their side and speaking strongly about it. But it all comes down to each individual's needs and situation. That's what this person said. And I think that's exactly right. I've gone on record of saying this. My greatest issue, and I'm reading this, my greatest issue is with the VO Moseses who come down from the VO mountain with their GVAA or union rates written on their stone tablets and moralize their subjective rates, because that's what they are. They're just subjective rates, all by saying unfair, or these are industry killing rates, or they're wrong. If they're rates that aren't in line with their particular rate structure. Just a couple of observations about this, because I've never said this before. I've never heard lower paying voiceover talent, those that charge what's considered lower paying, looking up at the people that pay higher and say, you shouldn't be charging higher rates. They never do that. It's always the people that pay higher, that have higher rate structure, that I think are condescending and look down their noses at people that don't charge as much and say, you need to be charging more. It's never the other way around that I can see, that I've ever heard. And so that leads me to the fact that those that are proponents of these standard higher rates, I sometimes question just what's behind that. I just do.
There's also, and this might be what you're saying, but there's also a difference in the industry itself with how many people are in it from maybe where other people started. When you started, there was less people in it than I was. So it might have been a little bit easier to charge that much. Now there's plenty of work out there, but now there's lots and lots and lots of people who are voiceover talents. And so you've got to stick out in some ways. So being able to have a little bit lower rates and customer service and stuff like that.
I want to get the highest rate that I can possibly get, but I'm going to do the rates that the client thinks is fair. That's what I'm going to do because they're the ones that ultimately determine that. So.
And you want to work?
Probably enough said. We probably will have more comments now about this, but that's okay.
It's all right.
It's good to discuss it. It's good to challenge one another. And so maybe you feel a little differently about that. I know there are people in our group and people all over the industry that think differently than I do. So that's fine.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for watching our numbers video. If you want to watch this type of content or our Todd's tips that we just had earlier, you can check them out in their own playlists. VO Marketing Pro also has a YouTube channel. You can just look it up. Also, if you want information regarding VO Marketing Pro and maybe what they can do for you as a voiceover talent, you can get a hold of John or Joe at VO Marketing Pro. I think is it John Barsness at VO Marketing Pro? Demand will flash on the screen. Or you can just look them up on Google at their website.
You're all over the internet.
Everywhere on social media.
Yep.
So we will end this video, and happy 4th of July to all of you.